The protection of LGBT people has been a core purpose of the Arcus Foundation during our 20 years of existence. Arcus contributed to the recognition of the human rights of LGBT people at the United Nations in regional systems such as the African Commission and the Organization of American States. Strategic litigation, which is one way of contributing to increased legal protection of LGBT people, one goal of the Arcus social justice strategy. The other goals being increased safety and social inclusion of LGBT people. I am Adrian Coman, Program Director for International Social Justice at the Arcus Foundation in New York. Our guests today are leaders of organizations supporting strategic litigation, and some are also petitioners themselves before courts in their countries. I have the great pleasure today of talking to the following representatives of groups supported by the Arcus Foundation during 2020. Ecclesia de Lange, Executive Director of the faith group Inclusive and Affirming Ministries based in South Africa. Indyra Mendoza, Coordinator of the lesbian group Cattrachas in Honduras. And Kenita Placide, Executive Director of ECADE, the Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality based in St. Lucia. I'm going to turn to Kenita now. Kenita, Arcus has supported the process of strategic litigation for the repeal of criminal laws in Kenya and Botswana in order to end discrimination by law. Please tell us about the similar processes ECADE, I know, has initiated and is supporting in the Caribbean.
Thank you so very much for that question, Adrian. ECADE decided not to just focus just on the litigation. We looked at the courts, we looked at the law and how it should be challenged, but we also took the opportunity to pull back and also look at security communication sensitization. And that's from learning from some of the lessons of other cases that went before. And just thinking about the Caribbean in question, we had the case in Belize and Trinidad as example. And at first, we started with a 7-country roadmap to launch in these cases. However, we have to say that 2 of those cases are actually filed outside of ECADE. But again, it's still in the region, so we still have to monitor it. So there's a case filed in Dominica and St. Kitts that's not managed by ECADE. However, the cases in Barbados, Antigua, St. Kitts are all managed by ECADE. If I give you one law, I pretty much give you all because of how similar they are in the writings. But the constitutional challenges that we are doing, say, for example, in Barbados, is looking at 2 sections. One that is looking at the burglary law, which makes intimacy between 2 men illegal, and this is punishable up to 10 years imprisonment. And we're also looking at the gross indecency laws. We are still doing and using mechanisms like the OAS and the UN to continuously keeping the governments accountable by doing the shadow reports, by doing advocacy, by being visible.
Thank you, Kenita. Indyra, what strategic litigation have you initiated personally in Honduras and also on behalf of Cattrachas?
Bueno, yo en los últimos años he metido 3 recursos de inconstitucionalidad a la Sala Constitucionalidad, 2 amparos también a la Corte y 5 casos de peticiones a la Comisión Interamericana de Derechos Humanos. Los recursos de inconstitucionalidad han sido a favor del matrimonio igualitario, el cambio de nombre y el cambio de género basado en la opinión consultiva. Este año, otro recurso de inconstitucionalidad porque el fundamentalismo religioso con los partidos políticos blindaron la Constitución para que no nos pudiéramos casar, es decir, ya no nos podíamos casar constitucionalmente, pero pusieron reglas más altas de la votación para que ya no se pueda acceder al matrimonio igualitario. Vicky Hernández era una mujer trans, súper joven de 26 años, activista del colectivo Color Rosa, era VIH positiva, que vivía en la ciudad de San Pedro Sula, y ella fue la primera víctima mortal del golpe de Estado que hubo en Honduras en el año 2009 durante un toque de queda. Entonces Vicky aparece asesinada el 29 de junio en las calles de San Pedro Sula y para nosotras eso es una ejecución extrajudicial. Y desde el año 2009 estuvimos llevando el caso de Vicky durante 12 años para poder buscar justicia.
And you won. Congratulations.
Nuestra propia estrategia de litigio estratégico es tener 5, 6, 7 casos juntos exigiendo lo mismo ya en la Comisión Interamericana o en la Corte. Y la Corte de Honduras, la Sala Constitucional, todavía no ha dado respuesta a ninguno de estos recursos de inconstitucionalidad y ya tienen más de 3 años.
Turning to Ecclesia now. Ecclesia, Arcus has recognized and integrated in our strategy the great influence that faith and people of faith can have on acceptance and inclusion of LGBT people. Can you please tell us about your individual journey as a petitioner in court and also about the effort of your faith organization turning to the courts?
Thank you, Adrian. Yes, since 1995, we've got a very progressive constitution within South Africa that protects the rights of queer people. And in 2006, we also embraced the Civil Union Act, where same-sex couples can get married. So starting in 2009, as a minister within the Methodist Church of Southern Africa, that was my time to come out and announce that I was going to get married to my same-sex partner. I then was discontinued. It's a very nice word for being fired as a Methodist church, Methodist minister. I had a clergy support group within the church as well, who supported me as I came out, and together with them and with legal counsel, I then approached the courts. That was not successful. The Constitutional Court found in favor of the church, and the main objection or reason for that was basically that they did not want to get into the politics of church. There's a direct impact from my personal litigation process that had an impact on the Dutch Reformed Church. Now, the Dutch Reformed Church, for those who don't know, they're seen as the apartheid church. So in 2015, they made a surprising policy change where gay clergy did not have to be celibate and LGBTI people can get married. And so there was a huge relief. I mean, it was an enormous victory for LGBTI people within the Dutch Reformed Church. But it wasn't long before there was a swinging backlash. They retracted the 2015 decision. They retreated into an archaic decision that homosexuality is sin. Some clergy then decided they're not going to stand for this and they are going to take the church to court. And it was a wonderful occasion. The judgment was in favor for the gay community or the LGBT community. And it was an enormous, a landmark victory. So it's about building the relationship with the clergy and helping them to create safe spaces for LGBT people and persons within their denominations by raising awareness, opening minds and opening hearts so that doors can open up within these faith communities.
No, que Ecclesia ahorita me quiero dar una respuesta importante, porque en Honduras el problema que tenemos es que la iglesia sí tiene libertad de religión, pero es que se meten en la toma de decisiones del Estado. Honduras es un Estado laico, pero hay una relación directa entre los partidos políticos, los gobiernos y las iglesias, donde hace la disminución de derechos a una parte de la población, y esa parte de la población generalmente es las personas LGTBI, pero ¿cómo hacer, Ecclesia, para que la gente que está dentro de la iglesia en países como Honduras pueda tener esa valentía de decirles a sus propios cleros que se tienen que respetar sus derechos como personas LGTBI?
I think it's most definitely possible. First of all, it's about, again, I'm going to stress this, relationship. It's about building a relationship with a particular church. And if you can find a clergy person, a faith leader that is sympathetic towards LGBT people or groups, then that is the person that you need to build the relationship with. It is important that capacity is built for them, a place where they can share their stories, their reality. That is vital.
Now, for the Caribbean, we have what is called CARIN, which is the Caribbean Interfaith Network. It definitely made us realize we need multiple approaches, especially when Pentecostal, Evangelical, Christianity, Rastafarian, Hinduism. All of these can be found right here in the Caribbean. You actually need a religious leader to speak to another religious leader.
Your interfaith perspective is so important because that does build a movement, and that is something that in South Africa we do very well, is finding common ground between faiths and then building on that. You cannot have one strategy for all the denominations. Each denomination has its own language, so strategy is vital in order to really get people on your side.
Thank you, Kenita and Indyra and Ecclesia. It was a privilege for me to host this conversation today, and I would like you to know that we are very honored at Arcus to be able to support your work.